I thought, you can grow anything all the time, and it's so easy. There's a lot more things to contend with, challenges that you have to overcome, and different problems that you have to solve that are different than ones that you would have in a cold country with a short growing season. Water is a really big issue and something that we have to think a lot about because there's not a lot of water.
We have two systems for water here on the farm. One is this well, and this well provides us basically only with our drinking water. We fill up our tank with it, and then we also use it for just watering our garden with the hose. It's not enough because it relies on the water table, and it's not a very deep well, it's not a very big well, and it's certainly not enough to be watering all of our fields with it. So we're a bit limited in what we can actually accomplish in this season. We can't be growing a lot in the fields right now. So this canal is our second source of water. And most of the time these days, this is bone dry. And in the rainy season, it will be completely full, flowing very hard all the time. We use this hole that leads to our property, and we unblock it and let the water flow through to our property. And that's how all the farmers here water their fields. They'll create raised beds in the fields, and once the water is open and flowing, it will flow through all the raised beds, they'll water the beds, and then they'll close the canal and let the water drain.
Seeing this garden makes me pretty happy, like to just see things growing and surviving is, yeah, really satisfying, even though it's so much more work than you think. I thought, you can grow anything all the time, and it's so easy. You really have to, yeah, take care of things. All of these little green children that you put in the ground and, yeah, water and nurture and just pay attention to see, you know, what they're telling you, what they need. Before we had a lot of lettuce growing in this area, and unfortunately, since we weren't here at the start of the winter season in Thailand, we planted it a little bit late, and so as the days have been getting hotter, they all bolted and went to seed, so we didn't actually get to eat any lettuce that we grew. It just turned bitter and not tasty. So it became mulch for a different garden. And now we have a whole bunch of tomatoes, and these are Roma tomatoes because Brendan really, really wants to make pasta sauce. So just as we continue to plant things, make the soil better, yeah, like we're building a little ecosystem here.
So what's in the garden so far? We have kale that is not doing super well. It's going to go to flower pretty soon. We had the same issue with the lettuce as well. I think it's just getting too much direct sun and it's starting to get hot again. So lettuce really wants to flower in that time. We have Roma tomatoes and basil. And I also have carrots and celery growing because these four things are the basis for a lot of good pasta sauces. So you create a sofrito, you blend those things together, and then you put that in your pasta sauce as you build it up with the tomatoes. And yeah, you can make really awesome pasta sauce from home. We didn't want to just grow a bunch of random things in our garden that we weren't too excited about eating, so we're trying to grow with a purpose. So we will use all the vegetables that we grow. So moving on, we have green onions that are starting to do better now, but I think also going to flower, we might have to cut those off soon.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah. Our carrots are in their teenager stage, I would say. They're growing up. They're going to become adults soon. We've got beets right here, which look like they're doing pretty well. and then this stray tomato plant that somehow made its way from over there to here. I'm thinking ants. Then we've got these watermelon radishes I've had before in fancy restaurants, but I saw the seeds and I wanted to try growing them for ourselves. And I think we've got one that's pretty ready to be picked as well. This one looks like it's ready to go, and I'm excited to cut into them and try them because I love garden radishes. So, oh yeah, it's a good size.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's so pretty. So on the inside of these should be like a pink and white and a little bit of green. So they actually look a bit like a watermelon, hence the name. And they should be a little bit sweet and a little bit spicy, just like a radish, but I think that's a nice size. If we let them get any bigger, they'll get fibrous, so we'll pick this one for now and have some fresh radish. Our strawberry trying to grow. I think it's doing well. We also have mustard greens growing, but it seems like any soft lettuce we put into this garden is getting destroyed by these little black and gold bugs. Anyone knows what these are and how to get rid of them naturally? Let us know, because they really like the soft lettuce. Luckily, it's not eating anything else so far. And then we have our big USA tomatoes, and they're starting to come to flower, and they're actually getting quite thick. So we'll make sure these keep growing up and hopefully give us some big beefy tomatoes soon.
We are really going with the tomato theme, partly because that's what was successful in our seedlings. And so these are rose indigo tomatoes that we just put in this planter here. They're kind of cool because they have like darker colored leaves, so I'm curious to see what the fruit is really like. I imagine maybe it's a rose indigo color. But these ones are quite a bit younger even than the Roma tomatoes, so they'll take probably quite a bit of time till we see any fruit from them. But something that I'm really excited about that I planted not too long ago was the butternut squash plants. I just have 2 out of 4 that actually survived. One unfortunately got eaten and the other one just didn't come up, but these ones are looking pretty good. I think I'm excited. I'm pretty pleased with like how big and healthy they seem. And in the empty spaces where the other ones didn't survive, I put some mango seeds that I found had sprouted in our... Hey! I put some mango seeds that had sprouted in our worm compost. When we're planting the seeds or the seedlings, we're taking soil from our worm bin, and there's, you know, a whole bunch of random things, but apparently there were mango seeds in there for quite some time, and they sprouted, and so I figured, why not put them right where our cat is gonna walk, and maybe something will grow. Some of the other things that we've been growing or trying to grow are some different herbs. So we got some cuttings from Pun Pun of a creeping oregano. So it's not like the typical like Italian oregano that's more bushy. It's, yeah, like a crawling kind of plant. We got some plants when we went to Chiang Mai of lavender. So it's looking quite a bit shorter than it was before because I just trimmed it all back and now I'm just drying some of the lavender. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. But something aromatic, maybe I could make incense. It smells so nice and is just a really lovely, beautiful kind of bushy plant to have in this little pineapple papaya section of the land here. And actually one of the pineapples has just started making a little fruit, which is super cute. Over here it's just so tiny and spiky, and I think it actually makes like little flowers once it gets a little bit bigger. there will start to be like little flowers in kind of some of these little sections, which is really pretty. Now, if any of you guys have been watching long enough, we planted a whole bunch of beans in this field before. And when we harvested them, I threw a bunch of the cuttings into this planter. And so a whole bunch of bean plants have sprouted up alongside some wing bean plants that I put in here more intentionally. I'm not really sure if they're happy or not. I feel like they're not growing as quickly as I expected. Maybe they need just a little bit more TLC. And then interspersed in there as well is just some little daikon plants. This planter is kind of the center of another project that we've been working on in this field that's different than what we did before.
So the big thing that we've been working on in the last few weeks is digging raised beds in our field to help with drainage, but we've also just thought we should build something beautiful while we're doing it. So instead of building a bunch of straight rows everywhere, we built this cross garden with this planter at the center of. And the idea is in the rainy season next year, hopefully April or May, we're going to start really planting a lot of stuff in here, and it'll just give us so much more space to garden with, and we'll actually be able to use the canal system to flow the water through all of the smaller canals that we've built throughout the garden. We'll build this up a bit and have flowers surrounding this circle. We'll have all of our crops planted in these raised beds. And then I think we're going to do one more outer ring and plant more flowers and things like that. And then maybe build a greenhouse over here or something like that. And just really focus on this one space as gardening for all of our food and everything we want to eat. Because I think it's more than enough space than we need to grow all the vegetables that we could eat.
Another random thing that I wanted to plant, mostly because there's so many uses for it, is loofah. So I'm actually super happy because I only planted 4 seeds and they all came up. People say they planted 2 loofah and it just like took over their garden. So we'll see. A lot of people know that you can use loofahs for sponges, but you can actually eat loofahs as well when they're young. So you can eat some, you can wait and dry some, and then when you're letting them go to seed to dry them, it's kind of a dual purpose because now you have a whole bunch of seeds and you have a whole bunch of sponges that you can cut up and use in the shower, in the bathroom, for washing your dishes, and they're like totally compostable. You don't have to buy plastic sponges that just stink and are gross. We also have a bunch of chaya that we planted before we left for Canada, actually. Literally didn't do anything but cut them off of an existing chaya plant and stick them in the ground. Now we've put some straw. I don't think we even put compost on them. Hardy, they're nutritious. I think they call it tree spinach, maybe in English. But you can just take the leaves, cook them in whatever way you want, and yeah, they're just like a very resilient, excellent thing to have in your garden, which is really popular here in Thailand. Now I'm getting really hungry, so we're gonna try the beets that we harvested, which is actually gonna be the first thing that we can eat out of our garden because we didn't get to eat any lettuce. So this will be exciting.
My favorite thing to do as a kid, my parents grew radishes, was just put a little bit of salt on them and try them like that. All right, try the first one. Boy, they got some kick to them, that's for sure. But yeah, the salt just helps give it a little bit of flavor, counteract that spiciness a little bit.
Wow, yeah.
Really good though.
The color is so cool. Not as spicy.
Not as spicy.
Yeah. I think maybe a little bit sweeter. I think my preference definitely is for the less spicy ones.
They're pretty intense.
We planted radishes in rainy season, and like none of them worked because they all got eaten by snails. Maybe there was like one or two that survived, but they were just moldy because there's so much rain. It's so humid at that time. So
I think when we come from the West, we have this idea that, you know, if you lived in Costa Rica or Thailand or some tropical country, there's just mangoes on the trees all the time and bananas everywhere and abundance of fruit all the time.
yeah.
And just coming from kind of a place of ignorance because, you know, we go to the grocery store and see that there's fruit all the time and it's coming from somewhere, so we just assume that these countries are always growing these things. You're just growing organically, like you really have to rely upon the seasons that you're growing in.
Yeah.
And the winter in Thailand is great for like root vegetables, lettuce if you start it early enough.
Yeah. More delicate.
Yeah, delicate things. And then the rainy season is when you want to grow something that just wants a lot of water and it wants to grow up very fast, like vines and cucumbers and squash and things like this.
Beans, yeah.
And then, yeah, so I guess we just realized that you don't get to grow everything all the time, and not everything is going to work out, and you need to be mindful of that. So that's something we've just been learning naturally by being here, by talking to Pun Pun and people that have been growing through multiple seasons here, that there really is a time for everything.
Yeah, we left in the most like critical planting period, like before winter, when people are really doing a lot of like planting and preparing. So you're kind of just behind in that way, and so that's why, you know, people seeing the things that we're growing right now, they're like, oh, it's kind of late for that. I don't know if this is a good time. And we're like,
We have to try.
yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is really just trying to plant things, and for them to not come up or to die or whatever. I don't want to feel the like failure, like feel disheartened through that, but really, if I don't plant it, I'm not going to have it anyways. So
And you won't get the learning experience.
yeah, so you might as well just try. Just do it. Like, don't read about it and research it for forever and delay the action. Just try it, and you will learn as you do.
I think we can do well to be very prepared when rainy season is upon us this year, and hopefully take advantage of that full cycle of growing, rainy season and then winter, and really turn this place into something beautiful. I think that's my hope.
Yeah. I think eating this radish, yeah, it feels good. It feels good to eat something that you've grown.
It's a trophy.
A trophy, yeah. And it's really beautiful. Like, these are so cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our little garden tour and hearing a bit about our experience. The next time we will see you will probably be at some festivals, at Pun Pun and Shambhala Festival. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.